This program is brought to you by Telecom Limited and Colgate.
And welcome to another episode on Haus Home. It's the 14th of November and we are almost through to the mid of November and looking forward to the end of this year. If you had a successful year all throughout, then good for you. If you haven't had a good weekend, then look forward to having a good one this coming weekend. I'm Daisy and it's always a pleasure to have your company. Well, let's get to it. Coming up on tonight's show, we get to feature the first winner of the City Pharmacy Limited Scratch and Win card promotion, a very simple yet tasty donut recipe, our handy tips, of course, for our weekly segments, and we wrap up this show with a Toana men's shirt sewing. We get to learn how to make one of the fastest way, yet simple and tasty donut, and that is made by yours truly. Let's get to see how it's done. So we will need flour, a cup of warm water, sugar to sweeten. Alright, so what I'd like to do is I add my yeast first to the bowl I'm using for my whole mixture. So for this basic dough, for this I will be needing only a teaspoonful of yeast. I will also need baking powder, and baking powder helps like an improver to help yeast activate with the flour. So just a little bit into my teaspoon. Salt. This measuring cup is of course 1 cup, which is equivalent to 250 ml of liquid. However, I'd like to show another way where you can measure. I understand many women out there love to make donuts, but they do not have the right measuring cups. So one thing that my mom taught me is using a coffee mug or a normal cup you use at home. So I will be using this to measure my flour because I believe and I know that all the other households right around Papua New Guinea have this same kind of cup. So I will need, for this basic dough, I will need only 3 cups, 3 of these cups of flour. Two tablespoons of sugar. 1 and 2. Now we'll incorporate the sugar with the flour. We now make a well with our spoon. Making a well is just removing flour from the center of the bowl to the sides. Warm water helps the yeast to be activated and to react with the flour. Once you put that in, you will add a little bit of oil to make the flour a little bit shiny and gives that glazy look. Now we will have to mix the flour with the water and oil. You go first of all just the sides of the well, taking in bit by bit to incorporate everything together to make dough. The kneading that took us about 3-5 minutes. After about 3 to 5 minutes of kneading, I'm satisfied with the feel and the texture of my dough. So how I get to know that my dough is ready is by pressing it down and it springs back up like that. That should indicate that your dough is ready to go in for about 12 to 15 minutes to let the yeast react and activate with the flour. We now let it rest for it to rise. Letting it rise for about 12 to 15 minutes. Due to the size of my flat board, I will have to cut and just cut my dough in the middle. The other half, put it back in the bowl, and I will work with one. So I knead this again. For we simple bakers, we call it removing the bubbles and air from the dough. This is my rolling pin, so it rolls perfectly over my dough. I roll over the dough, pressing out any bubbles. So I'm using this to give me a bigger size, but you can use any other cup sizes or however size that you want to use. Helping my dough not to stick, and I start cutting right at the edge. 2, 3. That's not it. Now we're gonna have to make the smaller cuts. Here I'm using an old bottle head. Right in the middle, cut, the middle and cut. Here is our donuts, our flour that is ready to get into a hot pan or the hot oil. Place it in. Place it in, and the last one. Place it in. Picking up my 2 donut sticks. I'll turn the doughs around. If you see that your dough gets to split or crack, you know that it has risen to the right texture. Keep your heat at the medium. See how handy your donut sticks can be? You can get all 3 at the same time rather than using a thorn where you get to get one at a time. As you can see, our donuts have already been fried and are laid out here in nice, beautiful order, all golden brown donuts. And you can have whatever topping you wish to have. For me, I'd like to have it plain, or sometimes I'd like to sprinkle a little bit of icing sugar or sugar dust, but it's all up to you. Welcome back. You're watching Haus Home. Having to spend Christmas is about family and friends. And for one father who flies all the way from Kimbe in West New Britain province to Port Moresby to spend a few weeks with her daughter, is surprised that he is the first winner of the Scratch and Win card promotion for City Pharmacy Limited. Joe Nuabi gets to share his excitement with the rest of us when he gets to be the first one to do a scratch of the card and be the first winner of City Pharmacy's Christmas promotion. Let's see how that turned out.
Yes, actually, me tupla mama come long. Last week that's all kinin Mary bring me play come long. Liklik malolo na golo island, lo Yule Island. Now morning me asking me play me go around liklik lost shopping. So me play come na. I'm spending 200 kina something. Now they give me 5 tickets. So outloan sell 5 tickets. Me play scratch him 10% discount na 1 plata solem this la price come out. So me play hamamas through na me play tini mosem no last week me play come long. And you only give me play capia. Capia na all 50 years anniversary blow. Only give me play capia. Now me play come shopping, now me play winning this like I think me lucky time blow me play. Yeah, on this
We'd like to officially launch the promotion. It will run until the 31st of December. So you have now until then to find the lucky scratch card that maybe will have the car. I want the car. Maybe I won't get the car. But there's other stuff as well here, and we hope that everyone can come to Stop and Shop, come to City Pharmacy for everything that you need for Christmas, and you also get scratch cards and win something extra as well. Our vehicles as the major prizes, we've got TVs, washing machines, fridges, we've got appliances. We even have, and like we mentioned as well, like our CEO mentioned, free groceries as well, which we're pretty sure would help a lot as well for a lot of families. So instant win cards. So if you spend, let's say 250 kina, you get 5 cards. So the more you spend, the more cards you get, the more chances that you have to win a prize.
Our handy tips for this show is on how to thread a needle with an old toothbrush bristles. I believe many of us out there find it very difficult to thread a needle as the needle eye may seem too small, or many of you out there are short-sighted. So here is a hack on how to thread your needle with your cotton.
House and Home handy tips with
Palmolive hand sanitizer. Needle threading can be difficult for many. I will now show you how you can make threading easier with an old toothbrush. Place or rest the thread on the bristles of the toothbrush. Once you push down, the bristles will make the thread come through the needle eye. Now use a thin object or pin and pull all the way out of the needle eye.
House and Home handy tips with
Palmolive hand sanitizer. Sewing of men's shirts is supposed to be fun and easy, but many people think it's a hard task to do. But for one woman, Sumina, she shows it so easy, and that's after the break. Welcome back. Now we get to learn how to sew a men's Tawana shirt. If you ever thought that sewing of men's shirt is a difficult task, well, Sumina will show us just the way it's done, and I tell you, I found it very easy after learning to see how she gets them sewn.
To sew a men's shirt, we use a pattern, okay? We have back pattern of the shirt and the front pattern of the shirt and also the sleeve. Okay, next step here is I'm gonna cut this off. So I've cut out the back pattern of the shirt, as you can see here. Okay, so I'll remove the pattern down and I'll show you the fabric. Okay, so this is the back pattern of a male shirt. Okay. Okay, second, I'm cutting the front pattern of the male shirt. Okay, so before we cut the back pattern of the male shirt, I mentioned something about this 2 inches out. Okay, when I cut the back pattern, I mentioned that this 2 inches has to be fold back. And then we put the fold part onto the fold part of the fabric. Okay, right now we are using the front pattern. We are not going to fold the 2 inch. Okay, so we'll open up the 2 inch and then we put on the open side of the fabric. meaning the cut one. So here I'll measure again. The measurement for the length shirt was 31 inches. Always give allowance when you are cutting. We'll cut the sleeve of this shirt out, okay? What I'm holding here is the male sleeve pattern. This is the sleeve pattern. You will need 2 pieces to cut out the sleeve because we have 2 sleeves for one right and one for the left. When you're putting the pattern on the fabric, you need to give allowance, okay? You need to give allowance for the sleeve. One way or the other, we are avoiding the shirt not to be tight, okay? And not to be loose. So we are sewing a perfect shirt. Right now, we cannot cut the collar out because the shirt is still here. We need to sew the pieces together, and then we'll create the collar out of the complete shirt. Okay, right now I'm gonna overlock the edge of the sleeve, okay? Right now, I'm sewing the sleeve. You may ask why I have this crease on the sleeve of the shirt. Okay, the reason why is when I join the back part and the front part together, I'll put the sleeve on the shoulder part of the shirt when it is joined already. So now I'm joining the parts, okay? I'm putting the front pattern to the back pattern, okay? I'm joining it now. Okay, one out. Okay, the other part of the front pattern, joining it to the back pattern. Okay. Okay. After joining the 2 parts, the front pattern to the back pattern, you see the hems here? Okay, we need to get rid of the hem by overlocking. That's the join there. So what I'll do here, I'm gonna join the sleeve to the shoulder, okay? That's the join there. And where the crease is, the mark that I cut, the midpoint, okay? Put it on the shoulder, okay? To have a perfect join on the shoulder part, you need to sew one side first. I've joined the sleeves here, as you can see from the inside, and that's the outside part of it. Okay, what I'll do here, because we have the hems hanging out, we'll use the overlock machine to overlock the edges. So your shirt will be a quality looking shirt when you use the overlock. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is to join the sides of the shirt, okay? That's the shirt there, that's the front pattern. This is the shirt that I have been sewing. The pieces are sewn together. Okay, so I mentioned something about collar. You measure the shoulder, the neck, and then you get the measurement, you multiply by 2, and then you create the collar. This is how you insert the collar. Okay, as you can see the smooth part here, inside we have this interfacing. This is called the interfacing. Okay, that's inside the collar. So this is the complete product of the men's shirt. Okay, as you can see here, there's sleeves, collar, buttons there, buttonholes. That's the back part of the shirt. Okay, and the front pattern of the shirt. Okay, so you want me to sew your shirt, you come to Gordon's 5, Kelly Vartowa or Kelly Moses resident, to Gordon's 5, and you look for us here. So we'll sew you a beautiful shirt.
Thank you, Sumina, for your effortless time. And to all you viewers out there, if you are looking for a gift to give to your husband, a male colleague, your brother, or just a very close friend, you know where to find Sumina or her sewing. You can find her at Gordon's 5 or head over to the Mid-House car park sales every Thursdays to Sundays to find Emily Wara's stall, JJS stall, you'll see the name, and purchase one of the men's shirts for your male colleague, your husband, your father, or your brother. And that's all we have for tonight's show. From the hardworking team of House and Home and I, we wish you all a very pleasant evening and viewing, and may the remainder of this week be a blessed one for you and your family. I hope you all get to join us again every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. only on your number one to watch, EMTV.
This program was brought to you by Telecom Limited and Colgate.